שבת אחים גם יחד, הנה מה טוב ומה נעים, שבת אחים גם יחד, הנה מה טוב ומה נעים, שבת אחים גם יחד, הנה מה טוב ומה נעים, שבת אחים גם יחד, הנה מה טוב ומה נעים, שבת אחים גם יחד, הנה מה טוב ומה נעים, שבת אחים גם יחד, הנה מה טוב ומה נעים, שבת אחים גם יחד, הנה מה טוב ומה נעים, שבת אחים גם יחד, הנה מה טוב ומה נעים, שבת אחים גם יחד.
Shabbat Shalom, everyone. This Thanksgiving weekend, much to be grateful for on this continuing bittersweet Shabbat. Just imagining the reunions that are happening in Israel, not enough, but certainly for those families, a meaningful gathering. I can only imagine what it must be like to bring in Shabbat for them. I want to invite you to rise. We're going to say the blessing over the Shabbat candles that were already lit at the appropriate time. Let's join together.
ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם אשר קידשנו במצוותיו וציוונו להדליק נר וציוונו להדליק נר וציוונו להדליק נר של שבת.
Please turn to the person beside you and wish them a Shabbat Shalom. If you know them and love them, give them a hug and a kiss. You may be seated. Our tefillah begins with the Psalms that prepare our hearts for Shabbat, page 22. Lechu Neranenu.
Lechu neranena, lechu neranena, lechu neranena l'Adonai. Lechu neranena, lechu neranena, lechu neranena l'Adonai. נריע לצור אישנו, נקדמה פניו בתודה. נריע לצור אישנו, בזמירות נריע לו. לכו נרננה, לכו נרננה, לכו נרננה על אדוני. לכו נרננה, לכו נרננה, לכו נרננה על אדוני. 40 שנה אקוד בדור ואומר עמתו אל לבבהם והם לא ידעו דרכי אשר נשבעתי באפי אם יבואו אל מנוחתי.
Page 24.
שירו לאדוני, שירו שיר חדש, שירו לאדוני כל הארץ. שירו לאדוני, שירו שיר חדש, שירו לאדוני כל הארץ. שירו לאדוני, ברכו שמו, מסרו מיום ליום ישועתו. שירו לאדוני ברכו שמו, מסרו מיום ליום ישועתו. ישמחו השמיים, ישמחו השמיים, ישמחו השמיים, ותגל הארץ. ישמחו השמיים, ישמחו השמיים, ישמחו השמיים, ותגל הארץ.
Like this song, for the righteous and joy for the upright in heart, exalt the Lord, O you righteous, and give thanks to God's holy name. Bottom of page 26, Or Zarua.
אור זרוע לצדיק ולישרי לב שמחה. אור זרוע לצדיק ולישרי לב שמחה. שמחו צדיקים באדוני, באדוני, והודו לזכר קודשו, לזכר קודשו.
Seven lines from the top of page 28. We praise God with the instruments of our hands, prayers of our hearts and souls. Zamru l'Adonai b'chinor.
אמרו לאדוני בכינור, בכינור בקול זמרה, בחצוצרות וקול שופר. הביאו לפני המלך אדוני, ירעם הים ומלואו, תבל ויושבי בה, נהרות עמך הוכף יחד, הרים ירננו. לפני אדוני כי בא, וישפוט הארץ, ישפוט תבל בצדק, ועמים במישרים. ירעם הים ומלואו, תבל ויושבי בה, נהרות עמך הוכף יחד, הרים ירננו.
We rise as we turn together to page 34, Mizmor LeDavid.
מזמור לדוד, הבו לאדוני בני אלים, הבו לאדוני כבוד ועוז, הבו לאדוני כבוד שמו, השתחוו לאדוני באדרת קודש. קול לאדוני על המים, אל הכבוד הרים, אדוני על מים רבים. קול אדוני בכוח, קול אדוני בהדר, קול אדוני שובר ארזים, וישבר אדוני את ארזי לבנון, וירקידם כמו עגל לבדון, וסריון כמו בן ראמים. כל אדוני חוצב לבוט אש, כל אדוני יכיל מדבר, יכיל אדוני מדבר קדש, כל אדוני יכול לילות, ויחשוף יערות, ובהיכלו כולו מרכבות, כולו מרכבות. אדוני למבול ישב, וישב אדוני מלך לעולם. אדוני עוז ועמו ייתן, אדוני יברך את עמו בשלום. את עמו, את עמו, את עמו בשלום.
May be seated. Join together Lecha Dodi, page 38 and 40.
לך דודי לי כלכלה, פני שבת לקבלה, שמור בזכור בדיבורך דשמיין, אלא מיוחד אדוני אחד, ושמו אחד לשם ולתפארת, ולתהילה. לך דודי לי כלכלה, פני שבת לקבלה,
לקראת שבת לכו ונלכה, כי מקור הברכה מראש מקדם, נעשוך סוף מעשה במחשבה תחילה.
לך דודי כלכלה, פני שבת לקבלה,
מקדש מלך, עיר מלוכה, קום יצא, מתוך אפיך רב לך שבט בעמק הבא, והוא יחמור עלייך חמלה.
לך דודי כלכלה, פני שבת לקבלה, יתנערי מהפרקו מלבשי בגדי, תפארתך מעל יד בן ישי, בית הלך מקור באל, נפשי גאלה. לך דודי לקראת קהלה, פני שבת לקבלה,
התעוררי כי באורך, קומי אורי אורי אורי, שיר דברי כבוד אדוני עלייך נגלה.
לך דודי לקהלה, פני שבת לקבלה,
לא תבושי ולא תקמי, מה תשתוכחי ומה תמיבך, כי יחסו עניי עמי ונבנתה עיר עתילה.
לך דודי לקהלה, פני שבת לקבלה, והיו למשיסה שוסייך ורחקו כל בבלייך, יסס עלי אלוהיך כמסוס חתן הכלכלה. לך דודי לקהלה, פני שבת לקבלה,
ימין ושמאל תפרוצי ואת אדוני תריצי על יד איש, והן פרצי ונשמחה ונגילה.
לך דודי לקהלה, פני שבת לקבלה.
Rise as we face the entrance, welcoming the Spirit, the peace, love of Shabbat into our hearts, into this night, into this sanctuary. We bow together.
חדודי לקראת קלה בני שבת לקבלה בואי בשלום את תרד בלה גם בשמחה ובצהלה רוח אמוני עם סגולה בואי חלה בואי חלה חדודי לקראת קלה בני שבת לקבלה לחדודי לקראת קלה בני שבת
May be seated. Shabbat is here, and as we welcome the bride, Shabbat, we offer a psalm of gratitude. It's very appropriate, not only because of the week in the secular calendar, but also because of the events that most of us, we watched live earlier today. There are reasons to be grateful. Even when we can still hope for more and when we are yet very far from our cup running over, there are still reasons to express our gratitude. It's good to thank you, O Lord, to sing praises to your exalted name. Tov lehodot la'Adonai ulezamer leshimcha elyon. Page 42.
אדוני מלאך גאות לבש אדוני עוזי תזר אף תיכון תבל אל תימות אף תיכון תבל בל תימות נכון כיסך מאז לעולם אתה נשאו נהרות אדוני נשאו נהרות כולם יישאו נהרות דוחיה מקולות מים רבים אדירים משבר ים אדיר במרום אדוני אדיר במרום אדוני עדותיך נאמנו מאוד לביתך נבע קודש אדוני לאורך ימים אדוני לאורך ימים מקולות מים רבים אדירים משבר ים אדיר במרום אדוני אדיר במרום
Mourner's Kaddish, for those among us in mourning, those observing Yortzeit, page 124. Yitkadal, Yitkadash, Shemei Rabbah, V'alma, Divrach, Yerutei, V'amlich Malchutei, V'chayechon, V'yomeichon, V'chayei, D'chol Beit Yisrael, V'agala, V'zman Kariv, Imru, Amei, Yehei Shmei Rabbah, Mevorach, Le'olam U'me'omaya, Yitbarach, V'yishtabach, V'yitba'ar, V'yitroma, V'yitnaseh, V'yitadar, V'yitalei, V'yitalal, Shmei Kudusha, B'richu. Ela min kol berchata v'shirata, dush bechata v'nechemata, da'amiran be'alma v'imru amen. Yehei shlama rabba min shmaya, v'chaim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Oseh shalom b'mromav, hu ya'aseh shalom, aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. I invite the rest of the congregation to rise for the call to worship. The blessings of the Baruch Hu, page 50.
Yay, day, day, yay, day, 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 yay, day, 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 day. Yay, day, day, yay, day, 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 yay, day, 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 day. Yay, day, 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 yay, day, 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 yay, yay, day, day, day.
The blessings of the evening service, page 50 and 52.
אל חי וקיים תמיד ימלוך עלינו לעולם ועד. ברוך אתה אדוני המארי ברבי.
Page 52, final blessing before the Shema.
באהבתך אל תסיר ממנו לעולמים. ברוך אתה אדוני אוהב עמו ישראל.
Shema Israel Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבביך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודך וחיו הדברים אשר אנוכי מצווך היום.
ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובקומך וקשרתם להות על ידיך והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך. So we continue silently the reading of the Shema Yisrael on pages 56 and 58. We extend the Yesher Koach to Evan, our bar mitzvah from the previous week, who came especially to read the Shema with us on this Shabbat. Yesher Koach. למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם אני אדוני אלוהיכם אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים להיות לכם לאלוהים אני אדוני אלוהיכם אדוני אלוהיכם אמת. We turn to page 60 for the Song of Freedom, the Song of Redemption, song that our ancestors sang when they crossed the Red Sea, led by Miriam and all the women who took their tambourines and led the nation in singing, Who is like you, Adonai, among the mighty? Mi chamocha ba'elim, Adonai.
ונאמר כי פדה אדוני את יעקב וגלו מיד חזק ממנו ברוך אתה אדוני גאל ישראל.
Prayer for peace, the nighttime and the darkness, for shelter and protection. Page 62. Ashkivei.
השכיבנו אדוני אלוהינו לשלום והעמידנו מלכנו לחיים. השכיבנו אדוני אלוהינו לשלום והעמידנו מלכנו לחיים. השכיבנו אדוני אלוהינו לשלום והעמידנו מלכנו לחיים. השכיבנו אדוני אלוהינו לשלום והעמידנו מלכנו לחיים.
To the sick and the suffering, turn your hope. To the forgotten and the lonely, send your love. To the confused and the distressed, send your light. To the weary and the wronged, send renewed strength. To the pursuers of justice, send wisdom and faith. To the seekers of peace, send unwavering resolve. To Jerusalem and its people, send tranquility and joy. To the world tonight, send the blessings of Shalom.
ופרוס עלינו סוכת שלומך, ופרוס עלינו סוכת שלומך, ברוך אתה אדוני הפורס סוכת שלום עלינו ועל כל עמו ישראל ועל ירושלים, אמן. ופרוס עלינו סוכת שלומך, ופרוס עלינו סוכת שלומך, ברוך אתה אדוני הפורס סוכת שלום עלינו ועל כל עמו ישראל ועל ירושלים, ועל ירושלים, ועל ירושלים, אמן.
Rise as we proclaim the sanctity of Shabbat with the words from the Torah, page 64, Veshamru.
ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורות הברית עולם. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורות הברית עולם. ביני ובין בני ישראל עוד היא לעולם, עוד היא לעולם. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורות הברית עולם. כי ששת ימים עשה אדוני את השמיים ואת הארץ. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורות הברית עולם. וביום השביעי שבת ויהי נפש, שבת ויהי נפש, שבת ויהי נפש. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורות הברית עולם.
Page 66.
יתגדל ויתקדש מרבה, בעלמא דיברה חירותה וימליך מלכותה, בחייכון וביומכון ובחיי דכל בית ישראל. בעגלה בעגלה ובזמן קריב וימרו והשמר רבה מבורך, לעולם ולעולמי עלמיה. יתברך וישתבח, ויתפאר ויתרומם ויתנשא, ויתהדר, ויתהלל, ויתהלל שמד קודשה, בריחו לאלה מן כל ברכתה ושירתה, ושבחתה ונחמתה, נמירן בעלמה, והימרו אמן.
Private Amida begins page 69 and continues through to page 76, either in the Hebrew or the translation or any private meditation or prayer of your heart.
שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל, ואמרו אמן. הוא עושה שלום. יעשה שלום, יעשה שלום, שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל. יעשה שלום, יעשה שלום, שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל. יעשה שלום, יעשה שלום, שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל. יעשה שלום, יעשה שלום, שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל. יעשה שלום, יעשה שלום, שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל.
Amen. We be seated. We continue with the Kaddish Shalem on page 86.
יתגדל ויתקדש שם רבה. ועל מה דיבר לחילותה והמליך מלכותה וחייכונו ויומכונו וחיי דכל בית ישראל בעגלה בזמן קריב ואמרו אמן יהא שמך במבורך לעולם ולעולמי עולמיה יתברך וישתבח ויתפאר ויתרומם ויתנשא ויתהדר ויתעלה ותעלה לשמי דקודשה בריחו לילה מן כל ביחתה ושירתה התושבחתה ונחמתה באמירן ועל מה ואמרו אמן תתקבל תלתנו ואדון לכל בית ישראל קודם אבו גונדי בשמה ואמרו אמן יהא שלמה רבה משמעיה וחיים עלינו ועל כל ישראל ואמרו אמן עושה שלום בברומה הוא יעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל ואמרו amen.
Before we introduce our distinguished guest speakers for this Shabbat, we're going to say a prayer for the IDF. We have been holding in our hearts so many different feelings this past week. Of course, we continue to mourn those murdered from our people. We continue to pray for the return of the hostages, as we saw an emotional series of reunions today, and God willing, more in the coming days, and God willing, all of them speedily and soon. Continue to hold in our hearts and in our thoughts and prayers all those who continue to carry so much trauma, so much shock and grief, and we pray for our men and women in the IDF. So we are welcoming back this weekend of gratitude, this Thanksgiving weekend, Jeremy Birkin, who, as we know, helped lead us through COVID on Friday nights for 2.5 years. And he heard that my wife was cooking this weekend, so he came back from Northwestern University, where he too and so many of our college students are struggling in a very, very challenging environment all over the country. So he's going to lead us, together with me, in a musical version of the prayer for the IDF. You may have the text that was handed out. We've been offering these prayers every single day since the October 7th fateful attack. We also are going to continue to say prayers for those missing and captive. So first we'll offer in English the continuing prayers for those missing and held hostage, and then the prayer for the soldiers of the IDF, and then we'll introduce our two guests from Israel, members of our own mishpacha, with their stories of survival from October 7th. I invite you to rise. Prayer for the welfare and the continued return of Israel's captured and missing. God of Israel, our rock and our redeemer, God of mercy and compassion, we pray and we plead that you return all these precious and beloved people, the captured and the missing, who have cruelly and heartlessly been torn from their homes, carried off to our enemy's territory. We plead before you, source of mercy, be at their side, support them, protect them, quickly bring them back to the embrace of their families, all who love them. As you have declared, behold, I will restore the captives of Jacob's tents and have mercy on their dwelling places. We beseech you, Adonai, quickly fulfill your word. Here I am with you. I will watch over you wherever you go and bring you back to this land. Indeed, I will not leave you till I have done what I have said for you, as we all say. Sheberach Avoteinu Avraham Yitzchak Ve'Yaakov U'yevarech et Chayalei Tzva Hagana L'Yisrael U'yevarech et Chayalei Tzva Hagana L'Yisrael U'yevarech
נשמע ארצנו.
Joseph, unmute Jeremy's mic.
מגבול לבנון ועד מדבר מצרים, מן הים הגדול עד לבוא הערבה, ביבשה
to Jeremy, welcome back. We're very happy to see you here. I want to welcome back all those who came from college. It's interesting, looking from here, usually we see like smaller parties, right? Two, and now I see lots of group of 4 or 5. That means lots of young men and women who came back to visit their families and who took the time to come here and visit your spiritual home. And I can imagine that it's not only attracted by the idea of prayer and Kiddush, but also with the distinguished speakers that we have tonight. I want to actually thank Yarden, who is there, together with Dan, right? Dan? Dar, who are the ones who organize all of this. I met Yarden when Maya came 2 weeks ago. Do you remember Maya, who spoke from this bima on the Witzo event to a packed sanctuary, 700 people? And Yarden introduced herself and she said, I'm the emotional support dog for Maya. That's how she introduced herself. She's giving much more than emotional support to all those who survived the Nova Music Festival and who come here to the US to tell their stories, not only to share their stories with us, but I understand that many of them have been sharing their stories in the media and in DC, where the world must hear to their stories, because we all have empathy, and we want to share our love with you and to welcome you to speak from this bima. As I said it when Maya came, and then when relatives of the hostages came, we have decided that anytime there's someone who is a survivor or who is connected to this tragedy wants to speak from this bima, our microphone is their microphone, and we are going to continue listening to their testimonies because they are survivors, and this synod was founded under the premise that we never say no when a survivor of a tragedy wants to speak. But more important than that is to know that you have been speaking at many other places, to non-Jewish people, at schools. Actually, when I wanted to know how good, the testimony of Yarin was for children, for young children, I asked my son, who was at the JCC. When you spoke in front of lots of young men and women from the School of Madruchim and the preschool of Madruchim, so we are very grateful for you being here and sharing your testimony with us and with the rest of our community and the country. So I want to invite Yarin first. Just a disclaimer, I have asked Yarin and Milet, who is going to speak after Yarin, if their testimony is something that children can listen to, and they of course said it's up to their parents, but for those who were here when Maya spoke, they said this is not going to be like that, so maybe younger children who are of an appropriate age to listen to the testimony of a survivor can stay here in the sanctuary, and if the younger children want to go hang out in the chapel or wherever you want, this place is your home, so feel free to make no noise, but stay outside.
Shabbat Shalom, everyone. Disclaimer, I think that tonight I'm going to be speaking for also.
Hold the mic closer.
Oh, I just wanted to say that I kind of wanted to say something that is a lot more for everyone than to share, like, you know, the 100% of what happened, because I think the whole story of mine is something that is important to hear. So if there are children that want to hear my story, I'll be leaving a couple of details out that are not necessary for everything. You know, as I go and speak between stages, I always try to think how best can I describe the events of the 7th of October for me. And I don't think there's any way to actually show you guys what it made for me as Yarin, because each time I come and speak, I actually get stronger. And it's amazing, because until last week, I didn't even deal with the whole situation, and whenever I speak on stage, I always feel like I am exposing myself. From time to time, I actually feel like I'm getting stronger, getting connected to the Jewish people abroad, which is something that I haven't done in a while. So thank you for having me. A couple of side notes. First of all, I am not a survivor. I am a sored. There's a very big difference, but in the English dictionary, there's actually no word for sored. So I'm not a survivor. Survivor is somebody that was, in my point of view, come from a Holocaust family. So I have somebody, my great-grandma was someone in the Holocaust, and she's a survivor of the Holocaust. So it's kind of hard for me sometimes to hear that I'm a survivor of October 7th, because you know, I'm not at that level for me. And the second thing is that my name is Yarin Levin, 24 years old. I come from a regional council of Emek Hefer, and I'm an officer in the Army. I used to serve in the search and rescue unit. My last role was actually being a co-commander of a battalion, which means I had 120 soldiers and 5 officers at my command. And the third and last side note that I want you guys to actually take on for the rest of the testimony is that I have 2 main values that I took throughout the years of me being in the Army, and also that I was taught at home. One of them is selfless duty, which means that no matter who stands or who is under my command, he always comes before me. And the second thing is, and I think that's the most important one, is actually having, being fearless. Be able to approach fear no matter what, and to approach danger no matter what, even if it means that I have to risk my own life on losing it. I want you guys to hold these 2 values of mine for the rest of my testimony and try to see where it connects for both good and bad, for both when I used it for my own beliefs and against my beliefs, and still things that I'm coping with today. So yeah, my testimony starts on Friday night, and just so you guys know, I am not into these kind of parties at all. I don't like the music. It's not something that I go to usually. And I had a friend of mine, Sar, I have a friend, Sar, who actually really convinced me to come to the Nova Festival. He called me at like 8 p.m. on a Friday night, and he said, Yarin, you have to come to the Nova Festival, I got you tickets. I was like, Sar, leave me alone, I'm not coming to these kind of things, it's not for me, I don't like the people. There's a lot of stigmas and everything about them, that they do drugs and all that kind of stuff and everything. And then, after maybe an hour of convincing me that I'm totally getting a wrong perception of what I'm going to be experiencing, I actually says, yes, okay, just leave me alone, I'll come with you. So it's on a Friday night, I'm with my whole family, my whole extended family as well, on a Shabbat dinner. And we we were gathering, and I left early, and everybody got really mad at me because I left at 9:30, which is pretty early for us. And we got together with all the friends. We were 5 total, and we headed out towards the Nova Festival. Nova Festival is about 2.5-hour drive from my house, and we gathered all the things in one of the friends' house. It was a big SUV, and we got there at around 11:30 p.m. Now, just so you guys know, the Nova Festival kind of has this kind of like tradition that they don't bring alcohol in, and they're really eco-friendly and everything, so we couldn't drink inside, so we pre-gamed outside for quite a while. And we set up a camp, a little spot outside, and even then I could tell that something was different. This festival was not something that I'm usually something I go to, because I'm used to going to dance and to drink in the middle of the party and experiencing music and everything, and I don't know why, but something felt different. Something felt better. Something felt like more peaceful. Even though the beats are really high, but something that felt a lot more peaceful. So we stopped drinking at around 1:30 a.m. and we got inside. We bought a little bit of stuff, so just we can have a little spot inside as well, but of course no alcohol. And as we're getting inside, I'm actually having a look around. There's really heavy security. We're getting 2 double-checked for our bags and what we have on our body and everything. And as I'm looking around, I'm seeing this 2 people carrying like 8 chairs. And I go up to one of them and I ask them, "Do you need help?" He says, yeah, please help me. And I ask him, why are you carrying like 8 chairs to a festival? Like, we're supposed to be dancing. He's like, "What do you mean? Everybody's gonna be sitting with me at my spot the whole night." And I thought this guy was weird. Like, well, why would you go to a festival and sit down? You're supposed to dance. And as we're going inside, I felt this magical moment of unity, peacefulness, just love. It was amazing. It didn't really matter which gender or what your political status was, because we had a very big conflict in Israel at the time, and it didn't matter anything. Everybody connected. It was amazing. And most of the night I actually spent going from spot to spot. It was really something that I cannot describe to you guys other than like really amazing. I think I danced for maybe like 10 minutes, because I told you guys I don't like music, but I actually experienced a lot of the people there. And at around 5:15, we came back outside, me and Saab. We went to our spot where we pre-gamed, and we were having this conversation 2 24-year-olds have at 5:15 a.m. drunk. It was about life. And we were having a conversation about how his life is so good and how I'm getting my stuff back together and I'm getting it ready for university and everything. And I tell him at the end, "Listen, I want to thank you for bringing me to this amazing place, to this something that I cannot even describe. I feel like I belong here, even though I don't know anyone. It's amazing." And at around 6, that was the time when all my friends got out, and we got to the spot. We started drinking again because it's like big DJ was about to go up and like perform and everything. So we're drinking, and at around 6:30, that was when the missile attack started. And now, just so you guys think I'm crazy, I want you guys to think I'm crazy. I think that whenever I hear missiles, I just get down. That's it. I don't run away, I don't do anything, I just let it pass, and then I continue on with my life. And for me, that was a daily basis. Just so you guys know, I was in the Guardians of the Wall, I was in Ashkelon, We had a very massive attack there. There was 30 hits at the same time. Got to see a lot of stuff, a lot of very bad experiences, but it was something that we were all used to. All my friends were somewhat in the army and in combat and everything, so like hearing missiles is not that big of a deal. So at 6:30 we got by the car and continued to drink and dance near the car. Now I made two decisions between 6:30 to 7. The first decision I took was actually two friend girls that came outside the party that really wanted to leave. So I took the decision to call somebody from Be'eri. I called someone from Be'eri. I told them, listen, sending you two girls that are really frightened and they want to chill at your house for a bit. He said, yeah, for sure, why not? They can be there until this whole thing is over. So I sent them to Be'eri. Got stuck in a bomb shelter. That's a story for another time. Did you hear me until now? Okay. So that was the first decision I took. And the second decision I took, there were two other girls that came out the party. That one of them was in high school with me, and I didn't see her at the party beforehand. And that was around 6:50 a.m. And she was really frightened and everything, so I told her to join me as we were standing by the car. At around 7, we took the decision, after looking around and everything, and the missiles are not stopping, and kind of crazy. It was really massive. We were about 700, it's about 600 yards from the fence, so we got to see everything, the whole show, and it was massive. It was really, really heavy fire, and I've never seen that kind of fire before. And then I remember like consulting with my friends, and we were seeing people leave, and people are staying, and like there's big confusions about if the party is supposed to go on or not. And at some point, we took the decision that we're going to leave. Me and Sahab, we get into the girls' cars, that two girls that I told you before at 6:50 a.m. that we met them, that were really frightened. And the guys that were with me, the three others, they started packing our spot, putting it in the SUV, and we started to head out. Now, the girls' car was a lot closer to 232 Road, the exit. So I was one of the first cars actually that were there near the road. And the guys were stuck behind. We weren't cutting in lines or anything. We weren't panicking. It was really under control. Everything was really calm until I think like 7 or around 7 a.m. And when we get to the 232 Road, I started noticing that it's being barricaded on both sides. Towards north if it's Be'eri, and towards south if it's Re'im. And I didn't know it was not barricaded to the north. It was actually, there's a car jam going south. And I walked to the officer that was barricading towards north, and I asked him, maybe like, we're having a 30-second conversation about why you barricading the road. Everybody was outside, we're like trying to figure out what was happening. And then we hear gunfire. And I did what I knew best. I wasn't armed or anything. I couldn't do, so I just went back and I screamed, Mechabel, which means terrorist. Now, for you guys to understand the situation, there's about 2,000 people with me. When you shout Mechabel, you 2,000 people, it causes chaos. So everybody started to back up. There was a big confusion where to go because the missile was still going, still gunfire. We didn't know where to hide and anything. Took the girl's car, we brought it to a safe spot, and I called my friends and we joined up at one point. The bit of a fire exchange between the police officers and the terrorists, and at one point it stopped. We didn't hear any gunfire. All we heard is missiles. And around 7:15, that was the time when we decided to hop all together in the car, in the SUV. and we cut in line, the whole line that was waiting for actually the car, for the police officer to open the barricade. And we started leading this whole massive group of cars towards east. Now, I want to describe to you what it means to go east. When it means to go east, it's going to a farmland, which means there's no place to hide. There's big lumps of field. I'm pretty sure you guys saw the videos of people running in the fields, like that. On my left, towards the north, there's actually like a creek and nowhere to hide. Maybe a few trees, but that's it. So we start leading people towards the east, and we get it on this really narrow dirt road that there's only one car that can go. You can't go two cars. And while we're driving, I'm actually noticing that maybe 200 yards away from me, a car going west. And I was in the back of the SUV. I wasn't really inside the SUV, so I hopped out and I went to the the car that was going in front of us, and he was with a private car. And I was knocking on his window, and I can never forget that look in his eyes that he had. When he was rolling down the window, he was totally scared of everything. It's really frightening, like he saw something that I didn't. And I asked him, dude, why are you going west? And he told me, we're getting butchered. And I'm like, everything is okay. We just saw the little fire exchangement. It's all good. It's about to be over. I saw the terrorists, like 2, 3 terrorists, or they had like a little gunfight. Everything is okay. Let's just continue going east. And then he said, no. Rolled up his window and continued to drive. Now, when he tried to drive in the lumps, which is something that was not possible. He was really determined to go west. I didn't know why at the time. So we continued to drive. Then we're noticing actually a couple more cars going west. We got into a little car jam. And at around 7:30, that was the time when we got ambushed. We were getting shot at from everywhere. And as we're getting shot at, we're also having a missile attack on us. We're about 2,000 people in the field. Everybody's getting out their cars and we're starting to run. I don't want to be too descriptive, but there was a lot of chaos, a lot of mistakes were made there, not by us, but people took decisions unintentionally, out of panic. And at some point, we all get out the car, and my friends started running east with the 2 girls, and I don't know why, but I had this feeling I had to really comprehend the situation before I take action. I needed to really know what's going on around me before, so I could know how I continue actually deal with the situation. So I'm kneeling down near the car, and I'm looking around, and I'm hearing gunfire, but I don't know where it's coming from. And I'm looking all over, and all I'm hearing is bullets, and I see the bullets hitting near me, and I don't know where it's coming from. I didn't see it. Maybe after a minute, trying to realize where it's coming from, a guy falls next to me, gets hit in the leg. And that's when I did what I knew best. I dragged him near me to a safe spot, and I took out my belt, and I did this medical procedure on him, stopped the bleeding from the artery, and I remember trying to treat him and everything, and we're looking around, and I'm seeing his leg bleed. And then we both had this pause when we look towards the field, and we see the Hamas SUV approaching this massive amount of people. That's when we saw actually them being abducted, kidnapped, and they were shooting everywhere, and it was complete chaos. And I just looked at him and I said, I'm sorry. And I started running, and I left him behind. As I was running, I actually got to see someone that is not with us. That's the least descriptive that I can tell you. And he was like, I didn't even know at first. I couldn't really comprehend what I was seeing. Like, I was trying to reach out for her, and I thought she was having a panic attack. I didn't notice I was holding a corpse until later on. And at some point, after running for 4 miles, we gathered everyone together. We gathered all my friends and I. And during the run, I actually get a phone call from my brother. And he's asking me, Yarin, I heard you were at the party. Are you okay? And I said to him, yeah, Almog, I'm fine. I'll get out of this and I'll talk to you. Afterwards, I get a call from my ex-girlfriend. We broken up about 6 months ago, and then she asked me, Yarin, I heard you were at the party. Are you okay? And I said, Val, I love you. I'll call you when this is all over. I don't know why that was the first thing that went into my mind. This is while I'm taking cover and bullets are flying around me and people are falling. And those were the 2 phone calls that actually didn't let me proceed. They actually really held me back. So every time I got a phone call from either of them, I just hung up. Then there were 2 main players that came into play. We gathered everyone together after 4.5 miles. I started ringing 2 people. I rung my friend Yanai that was at home. He was feeding me information from the news about what was happening because I couldn't really understand what was going on. We were shot from everywhere. It was catastrophic. The other guy is actually my ex's father. He's a senior policeman in the region, so he actually also fed me information about what was going on. And after 4.5 miles of running, I actually started to realize that we started gathering around 700 people. And we started walking east through Google Map. We actually opened an operational center in the field during getting shot at, everybody dehydrated and drunk and everything, and we opened an operational center. And we were getting fed information from my friend and from my ex's father and everything, and we took some hard decisions, and a lot of people came with us. We were about 700, as I said before. At around 9:30 a.m., that was the last phone call I made anyone. We were heading east. There was nowhere to go. We were still in an open field. There was missiles landing 30 yards from us, 40 yards from us. And because there's no Iron Dome in the open field, actually, the last phone call was with my ex's father. And that's when he told me, Yarin, the situation is a lot worse than you think. I'm sorry, but you'll have to hang in there. I wish you all the best. I believe in you. Good luck. I hung up the phone. I didn't say anything. I looked at my friends and I said, listen, guys, this is over. Walking east until we hit something. Until something happens. And at that point, I shut down completely. I didn't look at anyone and really understand what was happening. I was just leading 700 people blindly to nowhere. And I had an occasion, a situation actually, that while we were walking, I saw someone run by me. We were all walking. And I have a look at him and I'm shouting at him, why are you running? And he looks back at me. He looks really scared. And I'm holding my head and I'm saying, wow, I made a mistake. Then somebody comes up to me and says, why did you make a mistake? And then I told him, well, he was having a panic attack and I did the worst thing you can do to somebody who was having a heart attack. You shouted at him. So I tried to confront him at some point and he just kept on running. And we continued to walk about 100 yards, and then I see him trying to climb this, like, something he cannot climb. I grab him, I started talking to him in Hebrew. I asked him if everything is okay, and I started doing this like procedure that you do on a soldier that is having a panic attack during war. And I see that something is wrong and he's not cooperating. And it's a lot worse than I think. And at one point, sorry for the language, he says, "Fuck all this." And then I realized from the accent that he's American. So I switched the whole thing and I translated everything and I did everything in English. I said to him, "Listen, we're at a party, we're getting shot at, we're about to be somewhere safe. I need you to hold on, hold my hand, squeeze it, if you understand." And at that point, he holds my hand and squeezes it. And he says, "Good. What's your name?" No response. And I said, "Okay, fine. Let's just keep on walking." And after a little bit of convincing him that we were okay, that we were going to safety and everything, he walks with me. As we were walking, I actually noticed that I'm starting to push him from the back. And after I don't know how much time, I said to him, "Listen, if you want to walk with me, that's fine, but if you don't, that's also fine, but I need you to cooperate. I need my power as well. I'm also really dehydrated and really thirsty as well, and I need to take care of the people with me, so if you want to walk with us, that's fine. If you don't, that's okay." And as I'm having this little conversation with him, I'm looking to south. And that's when it hit me what happened before. We saw the other party. And the other party was actually another one, a little bit east of us. That was hit a lot harder than what we were hit. And it was a whole graveyard. People. I won't describe here what I saw, but whole graveyard. And after maybe 2.5 hours walking, we came to Kibbutz Patish. We had to make a decision, actually. We had a 50-50 chance of a gamble of where to go. We had two decisions, either going to Kibbutz Patish or to Urim. And I don't know why, but we took the right choice because Urim was actually hit at the time that we took the decision, and we went to Kibbutz Patish. We were entering Kibbutz Patish, and all the people from the kibbutz didn't really actually know what was going on. They were keeping Shabbat. So they were just giving us water, and they see us, and they're like really shocked about what they're seeing because they don't really know that what we just went through. They didn't hear the gunfire. They didn't see anything. All they heard was a missile attack. And we're all like gathering in the middle of the kibbutz, and we made it around 400 people. The kibbutz started 700. That was a decision that I took. Well, I didn't see any other way. And at some point, we're gathering all the friends together with the girls, and I told Sal, "Listen, I'm leaving this place. I cannot stay here." So what we did, we started walking to houses that was near the center of the kibbutz, and we knocked on doors, and somebody let us in. I was charging my phone, and family tried to give me something to eat, but of course I couldn't because I was in complete shock. Sal came in with me. After a couple of minutes of being in the house, we walked outside, and I think I've never seen this guy cry in my life. Like, it's not something that we do. We don't cry to each other. So we're stepping outside, and he's like turning around, looking at me, and he says, "Yarin, I'm in a panic attack." He starts breaking down. Then I hold him, and I told him, "Me too, but we have to get out of here, and then we'll deal with everything else." So as we're going to the center of the kibbutz, back to where our friends are, two people amazing people decided that they're going to take their SUVs and they're going to be putting people into different kibbutzim to spread us out. We won't become like this target, because we were 400 people in the middle of a kibbutz where there's no bomb shelter that can hold 400 people. And I don't know, this is kind of a miracle, but one of the SUVs, it was actually heading towards where I live. And I asked him if he wants to take us, and he said, yeah, sure, we'll take you. And me and Sal got in the car, and we drove off, completely forgetting that I was with my friends, with the 2 girls, those 400 people. I just left. I got to my house at around 4:30 p.m. First one to confront me was my mom. I hugged her, told her that I'm sorry, I lied. I did not think I would make this alive. And then I gather all my family together in the living room, start telling them the story. They still don't know what happened. All I said was this: I was at the party, I was getting shot at, started fleeing. I got to Kibbutz Patish, and now I'm here. They don't know anything else until this day. I went up to my room, took 3 hours of sleep, got up, packed my bags, and went to reserves. Now, the things that I had to cope with, and the things that I'm trying to figure out still with myself, is of course those decisions that I took. And of course that I'm dealing with them, but as I go from time to time, as I'm speaking to you guys a lot more, and I know there's people here that heard me for like the second or maybe the third time as well, but I am getting stronger. I felt there's something in my mind and in my heart that I cannot describe to you guys. Before the 7th of October, I knew how to introduce myself. Like, I'm still trying to figure out how to introduce myself, because I feel I betrayed my own values. And I'm kind of glad at some point that I feel this way, because I know that is something that every Israeli has in his heart. Even if he led 1 million people someplace, he still feels he left one behind that he was taking care of. He will hold it for the rest of his life, and I will. And I'm coping with it, and it's fine. And I think the main part was like coming here, because until last Wednesday I was armed with an M16, with a vest, with a pistol, and a helmet, and I just wanted to see the first one who would try me, because I was so on it, so objective. And this is where I let my guards down. This is where I actually tell you my story of what I did wrong, and I try to figure out what happened. And I started seeing these kind of like testimonies as therapy session, getting all this like feedback from everyone that they've never heard a Holocaust survivor talk until they were like 80 years old, until they actually wanted to speak about it. And I was really pushed into being into this project, into this amazing project, and I'm in a really good state. And this is my reserves now. This is what I'm going to make my reserves. First of all, I just want to say it out there, because I know there's always this question about what can we do? And I think you guys don't know how much you're doing by just being Jewish in the United States of America. I think you guys don't know how much you're doing by donating to keep the organizations alive in Israel. Like yesterday, like last Tuesday I was in Gaza, right? I was fighting. And I don't want to start describing to you guys the feelings that we had there and the feelings that I'm having now, because it's irrelevant. Like, if I'm doing more here, talking to you guys and listening to you guys, or doing more while I'm in Gaza, it really doesn't matter. At the bottom of everything, you being Jewish, and as you guys spoke here before, you guys are handling your own battles, anti-Semitism and like your friends maybe that are looking at you a crooked way because of the way that everything is being dealt with, and that is very grateful in my mind that you're here cherishing our nation, our beliefs. I want to tell you that I have a mission too. I need to keep the place that is meant to be ours. A place for Jews to come back and feel safe. And that's what we're going to be doing. And we feel united in Israel. We feel good. And we feel your support. We really feel your support in Israel. And yeah, our lives stopped. Our lives stopped. But it's for a greater cause. And I think that you guys have a lot to do with it, with the cause that we're actually fighting for. And that's it.
Please be seated. We're going to welcome Milet Ben Chaim, also a survivor. She has her own story to tell us.
Thank you. How are you guys? It's nice to see you. So, my name is Milet. I'm 27 years old. And my story starts at the night before the massacre. So I want to say that the people, the community that I'm part of, which is I would say the party people, I don't know how to refer to that. It's the best community that I know, because we all come to party because we all want to feel united, because we all want to celebrate life. And we do it in a magical combination of, I would say, a personal journey, this kind of music, the vibes that there is in those parties are just that you can be on your own and feel complete. And at the same time, you know you're doing it with 100 or 1,000 more people. And that is a very unique kind of feeling. I arrived to the party around 2 a.m. And just before everything started to happen, I witnessed one of the most beautiful sunrise I've ever seen. And I felt so complete and so happy and safe. And I kept looking around thinking, those people are so beautiful. And when I say that the people of this party are beautiful, I don't mean how they look, but I mean like their souls. You can see it, you can feel it. At 6:30, the music stopped, and we noticed that there is crazy amount of rockets flying over our heads. And we're trying to understand what to do. So of course, the beginning, being Israelis, we're still, a lot of us think that we're gonna keep on partying in a few minutes. It's not new to us, the rocket situation. But there's no shelters there, and the rockets, they just don't stop. And we understand we have to go. And so I'm going with my friends towards the car, and we're deciding to try to escape. We know that it's going to be difficult because there is tons of people. Maybe we'll hit traffic, but we're giving it a go anyway. I'm trying to go from the side, if I can say that. It's pretty bumpy road, so it's not a specific road, it's just like a bumpy area that I'm trying to drive on. And I'm trying my best not to interrupt anyone, because I know that we all should escape safely, and I'm not more important than anyone else. And the crazy thing for me is that I felt like everybody shared this kind of idea. Like nobody tries to cut lines, nobody wants to get ahead. We're all just doing our best to do it together. And I'm managing to get us to a road. And I'm going on that road. And after 1 minute, there is another car coming to the other direction with the people clearly from the party. They're they're kind of like half body outside of the car through the window because they're trying to signal to us that there's terrorists. They're trying to scream and show us with their body language that we have to escape. And the cars that are before us are starting to get shut. So I'm making a quick U-turn and I'm going to the other way and I'm driving. But after something like 2 minutes, I have to stop again because the terrorists are waiting at the other end. They knew that this is the only way we can escape, and so they're closing on to us now. And we're trying to understand what to do. There's no directions, nobody knows what's going on, and we keep thinking that the army or police or someone will appear soon because it's not new to us. We couldn't imagine what is going on. But we decide to ditch the car and run towards the field, and what I keep thinking is that we just had a sunrise, which means that we're going east, and that's the opposite direction of Gaza, and that's what we're doing. I'm texting to my family that I love them. I didn't want to say anything else because I didn't want them to be worried. And we're just running. Everywhere we go, we see people coming from that way, screaming that they're being shot at and that we should escape to the other direction. And we realize that they're really closing onto us. It doesn't matter where we're going to. And at a certain point, I think I see soldiers. So we're running towards them. But then I noticed that they're all carrying RPG. I don't know if you know this, but the IDF does not use RPG. It's a very cruel weapon. So thankfully, I know that. And so we're running to the other direction. So now we're pretty much running towards the shooting, but away from the RPGs. And from that moment on, I barely remember anything of the running part because that is the moment when I start seeing people falling down. And I'm trying to convince myself that they're not dead, they're just gonna get up in a second. But the one thing I do remember is what went through my head. And you see, it's a nightmare, it's a living nightmare of trying to be as fast as possible, but you are, well, me, I'm slow. And I know that the terrorists are around me, I know they can kidnap me, I know they can shoot me. I see people around me being shot. And I know my odds are slim. And so there is a debate in my brain. There is one part that wants to shut down, that wants to give up. I'm so scared, and I feel like I'm about to pass out or have a heart attack from being so scared. And I just want to stop, I just want to fall down. My eyes just wants to close. But then there's another part of me that keeps saying, okay, there's nothing else you can do, but that is your best chance. You can't give up. You just gotta keep running. You're not fast, that's fine, just keep going. And so I'm running. And at a certain point, we find this sort of like a small valley that is a bit more safe because we can sort of hide there between something like lower trees and bushes. And now we started this running period, hundreds of people, but now we are 20 people. I don't know what happened to the rest. We're 20 people, including the 4 people that I came with to the party. And this one guy that I don't know looks at me and says that we're moving targets. And at that second, I could feel like something is just pulling my heart down, just grabbing it like that. And that is the feeling that I'm still trying to release from. But I understood completely what is going on. And I said, okay, so if we're moving targets, we can't be all together. We all should do what we feel at heart, and good luck to everyone. We gotta split. So we're saying good luck, and we start to just run different directions, something between running and crawling now, because I'm trying to stay low, still with my friends. And I understand 2 things. One is that I'm out of power completely. I can't run anymore. We're dehydrated. We've been up all night dancing. And, well, at the time I was mad at my body for giving up so quickly. Now I know that I was actually running for 2 hours straight. So, not too bad, but the second thing I understand is that they're surrounding us and we don't have any safe place to go. So if I'm gonna try to escape, they're gonna find us. And so I'm finding this place that I think is gonna be good for us to hide, and I'm telling the girls around me that we should go there. The boys of the group, they kept running. They thought we were behind them. They didn't realize this until a few minutes after. It's a very chaotic situation. And so we're crawling into a bush and covers ourselves with leaves. And now it's a friend of mine, her friend, me, and beside me another girl that I just met that moment. She was hanging on to me really, really strongly, and I don't even know her name, and I can't even see her face because I don't want to even rotate my face because we're trying to be as silent as possible. Because at the same time, the shooting doesn't stop, and we can hear them. We can hear their voices. We can hear how they laugh. We can hear the shooting getting closer and closer, and so we're just not moving at all, staying silent. And I keep thinking whether or not I should call the police because I know we have to be rescued, but then at the same time, that is a risk that I'm taking. Eventually I decided to call the police, but they didn't answer for a very long time. And once they did, they told us that they're sorry and we're on our own. We should hang in there. They don't have anyone to send to us, and they just give us the advice of not going to any village around us because they're all being taken over by the terrorists now. And I realize I have to contact my family and friends. I have to send my location and have someone else trying to send us help. And I'm sending them my location, and I'm trying not to explain too much of what is happening. But they're starting to find people that will come to us. So they keep telling me that this unit is coming and that unit is on its way, but nobody comes. And I start to understand that this is it for me. And I made my peace with dying that day. So I'm just laying, looking at the sky, and briefly, between all the shooting and the rockets, there is like 2 seconds of silence, and I can hear the birds, and I can see the butterflies, and besides the sky being very much gray from burning villages and the rockets, they're also really blue. was a really beautiful day. And I just thought that I'm gonna die here, but the world will continue and the nature will not be affected by the evil of humankind, and I knew that my family will get through. I sent them that I love them and that I'm happy with the life I had. And I truly was happy. I wanted them to have something to take comfort from when they will have to go through this. And now, let's say with something about around 3 hours of laying down, the shooting keeps getting closer and closer this entire time. Sometimes like they go a bit further, but usually it just feels like they're getting closer, and around 12, they get so close that I can see one of them. And we can hear another Israeli guy screaming, "They found me, help." I can't tell you how hard it is not to be able to help someone. We did manage to find his girlfriend. He was taken hostage, so fingers crossed that maybe he will come back, hopefully alive. But they're super close to us, and at that moment, all I can think of is how badly I want a rocket to hit me, because I knew that if they're gonna find us, they're gonna rape us. And I look at my body and I'm dressed in a way that I will never be dressed to anything. Because like I told you at the beginning, it's a party that combines a community that makes us feel very safe. And I know I can wear whatever I want without being objectified or harassed in any way. I know I can feel completely free. It's kind of like a bubble, you know. There's not a single club that I could wear this to. But there I feel safe. And I hate it. I look at my body and at my outfit and I hate it. I want to burn myself. And to think about the fact that it happened at the same time to friends of mine, a few kilometers away, is, for me, it's the most devastating part of this day. And at this point, I'm losing hope. But really, minutes after me losing hope, for some reason, my younger brother decides to text me that he trusts me over 100%. And if you're going to take one thing out of everything I'm saying now, then please take this. We can really take so much power and strength out of love and connections, because that is all I needed to remind myself who I am and what I have in my life that I have to fight for. And even though it doesn't appear as a big difference because I'm laying down on the ground and still do, I feel completely different. And I'm able to reach this person. His name is Rami Davidian. He's a true angel, hero, that voluntarily decided to just go with his own private car and to rescue people. And I'm talking to him. He's trying to find us. And it's really hard for him. The location is not accurate. The service is not good. And eventually, thankfully, I have this idea that he's gonna send us his location. And I'm gonna try to navigate him through that. And he does, and I'm looking at the sun, and I'm looking at the hour, and I try to calculate something, and I try to explain him where to go and how. giving him directions, and I noticed that I have 3% of battery left in my phone. So I ask him to please not give up on us, and I tell him that I'm gonna turn off my phone, we're not gonna move, we're just staying here, and please keep searching for us. And the amazing thing, he told me that he's going to honk his car. So he's honking the horn of the car until we will hear that, so that we will know without phone to get to him. And I'm turning off my phone, and we're just holding hands. We're on the verge of crying all the time, but we can't really cry because we have to be more silent than that. And we're waiting. Now at this point, we're 6 hours of laying down like that. The shooting never stops, the rockets never stop. But suddenly I can hear the car. And I turn on my phone, and I luckily somehow still had 2% of battery left. And I call him, and I ask him if that's him, and he said that he thinks that that's him. But he's having a hard time to find us still. And I understand I have to start moving towards him, which means leaving our hiding spot, which means going out where there's shooting. But I knew these are my best odds. I know I have 3 other girls with me that are younger than me, and well, they're not very functioning at this point. And I know that I have my family, and I have to do it. So I just started calling outside, looking for him. And he tells me that he drives a white Toyota, and I don't know if you know this, but this is the same car as the terrorists. But I'm hoping it looks different somehow. And then I see one car like that, and the car is moving really fast, so I think that can't be him, like he's gonna drive slow to find us. But for some reason I have good feeling about this car, and I try to look inside to understand if there's people or not that are with weapons or just soldiers, or who is it. And I managed to see at the last second a sticker on the car that has something in Hebrew. So I'm raising my body for a second for them to notice me and going back down. And this car actually managed to notice me somehow. And it was the car of another hero / angel, Leon Bar, which is another amazing person that voluntarily decided to come and rescue us. And so he comes back and he helps me to get the girls out, and we go into his car. The second we get to the car, my phone died. He was able to connect us to Rami, the other person that was really nearby, and he's taking us to Patish, which is a village like 10 minutes away. At this time of the day, the terrorists already got to Patish, so we have to hide in shelters for a few more hours. But at 7 p.m., they managed to take us out to Be'er Sheva, and our family came to pick us up from there. I want to say about Leon Bar, the angel that saved us. He kept on doing the same thing to find more and more people from the party for 2 days, but then he ran into terrorists and they murdered him. So I just want us to pay respect to Leon Bar. And I want to leave you on a happier note, because we're doing this for a reason, and for me it is to grow stronger. And so I want to share with you a sentence. It's my favorite quote of all times. and it's really, really relevant now. So it's in Hebrew, but I'm going to translate it. It says that there will not be a victory of light against darkness as long as we don't recognize the simple truth. That is, instead of fighting darkness, we should turn on the light. So let's focus on that. We have a lot of good stuff that we can do, and I truly still believe in the power of love and light. Thank you.
Please remain standing as we are going to continue our tefillah with Aleinu, Mourner's Kaddish, and then we will conclude with a tikva. We are so grateful for these unbelievable presentations, these holy souls who have graced us with their presence and their testimony, and we will continue to hold all those in our hearts and to embrace those members of our family in Israel who are doing what they can each and every day. God willing, we will do the same here in Miami. Page 118, Aleinu.
עלינו לשבח אדון הכל, לתת גדולה ליוצר בראשית, שלא עשנו כגויי ארצות, ולא שמנו כמשפחות האדמה, שלא שם חלקנו כהם, וגורלנו ככל המונם. ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא. הכתוב בתורתך, אדוני ימלוך לעולם בארץ. ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ, ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד, ושמו אחד.
Those of us in mourning or observing yahrzeit remain standing. Those of us we're going to offer the names that we observe in the coming week. Our congregation will member Stephen Albert, Isaac Berger, Rhoda Bernstein, Jose Cielek, George Epstein, Ira Feldman, Harold Goldstein, Bernard Gordon, Helen Greenberg, Winnie Hacker, Rona Cheryl Mandel, Louis Rosner, Kenneth Ross, Goldie Rotman, Sally Seltzer, Robert Snow, Susan Weinberg, Morton Weinberger, and Enrique Wolf. Mourner's Kaddish, page 124. יתגדל ויתקדש שמי רבה, ויעמד יברח חירותי וימליך מלכותי, וחייכון ובימיכון ובחיי לכל בית ישראל, בעגלה בזמן קריב ואמרו אמן. יהי שמי רבה מבורך לעולם ומעולמיה, יתברך וישתבח ויתפאר ויתרומם ויתנשא, ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתהלל שמי לקודשה בריחו. לעילה מן כה ברכתה ושירתה, תושבחתה ונחמתה דאמירן בעלמא ואמרו אמן. יהי שלמה רבה מן שמיא וחיים עלינו ועל כל ישראל ואמרו אמן. ועושה שלום במרומיו ויעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל ואמרו amen.
We're going to invite all of the children to the Mima to help us sing Hatikva together. We're going to conclude our tefillah as we remain standing facing the Israeli flag, and we're going to sing together Hatikva.
בירושלים.
Please turn to the person next to you, give them a big hug. Not an easy Shabbat for us to be sharing, but this is what it means to be part of the Jewish people. Am Yisrael Chai, everybody. Shabbat Shalom. Kiddush, join us, please, in the social hall.